it's obviously down to the individuals, obviously on the pitch have taken them, and I really have the faith and trust that they will take them. Shooting practice in training, trying to replicate balls coming in from wide areas, ball coming through central areas of the pitch, things like that, which you try and replicate really in terms of it. But these players have scored goals, some of them with their eyes closed really. So I just believe that they are. It's just probably just getting the right contact on it, Rob. When we look back on them, just getting the right contact on the ball, and we've not been doing that really. So as I said, the biggest thing for me, Rob, is the chances, because the hardest thing is to create the chances. That's the hard part, and because we are creating the chances and the players are getting into those positions, I just believe, I've got every trust and faith in them that they will get the right contact on it and connection on it and put the ball in the back of the net.
So is your main role maybe this week to just try and keep the players confident and believing that this will turn?
Yeah, that's it. Because when you say that stat to me in terms of the chances created over 2 games, and that's been over 2 games, and we feel with the players that we've got in the building, they'll feel that as well, really, in terms of that, the chances that we've created in terms of having the opportunities to score the goals, and that's been it, and I just believe this week, in the last couple of days, we've been working on some certain patterns and that to sort of replicate that. Obviously, Rob, you can never say that in a game. We don't know how the game's going to ebb and flow tomorrow. We've got a team turning up tomorrow trying to stop us doing what we want to do, as we also want to try and stop them. So, but what we do believe in is that the system and the style of play that we do, it does bode well for the attacking players because of the chances that we create.
Is the 2 in midfield with Windass playing behind Smith and Gregory working as well as you'd like? Do you need another body in midfield?
Yeah, no, it's working because obviously with the chances that we're creating, it means we're getting more advanced players into advanced positions. As I said, just Windass and Gregory as a trio, I would say in those chances that all 3 of them have had optimal chances to add to their goals tallies this season. So, and with the 3 of them and how they are and the players that they are and what we've got them in the club to do, which is score goals, we believe they'll score goals.
Would it be fair to say that maybe Josh Windass hasn't been quite at his best recently? And if so, how does he get back to that level where he can really impact games?
I think what we've all got to remember as well is that unfortunately we missed Josh for a large parts of last season. You can almost say he was out for a full-on season, and it's a long time for any footballer to be out of action floor and replicating training and games and everything. And this season he's been more or less involved in all our games this season, and I just believe that as the games are rolling by and the weeks in training are going by, he's getting stronger, he's getting better and that, but also at the same time he's put himself in positions on the pitch where he's had chances to add to his goal tally, which is what we've seen from him. And again, he's somebody, another player that I've got complete trust and faith in terms of getting there. So they just got, I said to them, stay consistent, stay persistent, and just be ready for the next opportunity.
How strongly are you considering giving Deli Bashiru a run of games? Is that something that you attempted to go with now?
Yeah, all of the players, Rob, I mean, in terms of what we've got them in for, obviously the numbers that we recruited in this season are smaller numbers, as we know from last season, so they've all got chances to play. And because, like you said, the turnaround and the volume of games, especially when they come quick and fast as they are now, and the run of games that we're in now, I said to all the boys, every single one of our squad member, be ready, because at any point, I'm willing and prepared to call upon you at any point to step in and perform.
Just want to check in. Is there any updates on his contract situation at this point?
Not at the moment, Rob. Not at the moment, but obviously, like I said, from our point of view, from the club point of view, we'll keep you well rehearsed in terms of when things develop.
Mark McGuinness has played well as a left-sided centre-half, and he's spoken about how comfortable he feels in that position. Why did you think it was best to move him on Tuesday night and played Jayden Brown in what I think most people would consider to be an unfamiliar position.
Yeah, we got to remember that obviously Mark was a moved position. Mark's one of the more dominant central defenders that we've got. And remember, Jayden at the first one was played in that position. Remember last season Marvin Johnson done an exceptional job there. Remember this season Reece James has come in and done an exceptional job there. Remember Liam Palmer has done an exceptional job there, and Jayden Brown, and all those players that I've put there, apart from Mark McGuinness, you'd recognise them, Rob, as being fullbacks, really, when you look at it. But such has been probably the injuries to our central defenders that we've had to rejig the pack, and we've rejigged the pack because there's been injuries. So Jayden Brown played in there. I thought he was gritty, I thought he was plucky, I thought he was dogged with his approach. But we've seen many players before Jayden playing that position.
Just to follow up on that a little bit then, because as you mentioned, Marvin Johnson's played there quite a few times now, hasn't he? And there are players who have got experience in playing that role. Why play Brown there rather than Johnson, for example? Why have you gone to him now when other players have maybe played in that role? What is it about him that you thought, yeah, do you know what? He's the man for this game at that position.
Well, you could almost say, why play Johnson when I played him there last season? And it was for the injuries, for that situation. You could say, why play Reece James there when Reece has not played there? But again, for the injuries. So why play Jayden Brown there? Because of the injuries and that natural left-sided that he brought us, really. And that was the reason why we've seen it before. But we've been down a road with it, Rob, that we've played it umpteen times, and the other night wasn't the first time, because we've got such a massive record of players playing in that position that have been in not probably that so-called that specific position that have played there, and Jayden played there the other night.
Playing out from the back on a few occasions this season has led to some risky moments, I think it's fair to say. Would you ever change that approach to play out from the back like you've chosen to? And have you got the defenders comfortable enough on the ball to do it well, do you think?
Yeah, we don't forget, Rob, we mix up our game. It's not that we just don't play out from the back. You've seen umpteen times the other night where we've gone straight into our fronts. So there's been times we've played at the back, but there's been times we've gone into the front. So we mix it up, our game. And that's what we continue to do, is mix up the game. It's not particularly that we stay resolute that you play out from the back. We've gone straight into the front, because with the personnel that we've got with a Michael Smith, a Lee Gregory, a Callum Patterson, a Malik Wilkes, and that, you can go into the front directly, because obviously those boys have got size and mass to them to go into the front. So we've done both scenarios of playing out from the back, but we've gone into the front, and the other night we went straight into the front and created a couple of chances going straight into Michael Smith into the front and breaking up the pitch.
Malik Wilkes, obviously a big target for you during the summer, struggling for game time at the moment, and when he gets on he does look a bit rusty. How do you feel about that situation?
Needs games, and will get games when we see fit. Malik spent large parts of last season not playing. Then he missed the pre-season, Rob. I know he was up the road with Hull, but technically he missed the pre-season. So we've had to get him in and really work with him and get him to a point where we feel he can have games. He's obviously come in, naturally picked up a little thigh strain, so naturally picked up that, which we thought usually is the case when players have been the length of time he's been off. And we've got him back from that thigh strain. We've given him some more work, and we feel now he's in a position where we feel he can start games. What he'll need is some game time and some minutes to blow off the cobwebs. But we don't doubt him, Malik. We feel that when he's fit and firing, we've got a match winner there, really, and our job is to get him to that level.
Has it been a bit difficult at times to get him sort of the game time maybe that he needs? And is that the same for maybe Alex Myton as well? That they clearly need those minutes that you're talking about there, Darren. It's not the easiest thing to sort of fit them into the equation at times, though.
No, and it's been difficult at times because the run of games that we've been on, the results that we've been getting, the consistency of certain players, the results. So that has, aided with them probably getting not as much minutes at this stage, but we still feel that we're coming into games, Rob, that we feel that they will be sufficient minutes for them to get in. But both those two players bring a different dimension to us as a team, but both those players are looking for the minutes, Rob. And as I said, we feel with the games that's upon us now, we feel that they're both in a position where we feel that they can, as and when we need to call upon them, that they can start games.
Thanks for your time, Darren. All the best.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
You right, Darren? How's it? You right?
Good, thanks, Joe. Yeah.
Good stuff. Just a bit of an injury update, I suppose. You said that you'd have a little bit of news on Ben Hennigan by today. Is it good news?
Yeah, I said we'd have an update, and it's not good news really for us, Joe. And obviously in the game against Lincoln, Ben sustained an injury, and it's an injury that's going to require some surgery. And from the medical department, it's an injury that we feel is going to potentially keep him out for the rest of the season, which is a bitter blow for us, because in terms of where we're at to this point, Ben was a wonderful mainstay in the defence, and played a huge part. So he'll be a big miss to us. But our thoughts are towards Ben in terms of getting him back as quickly as we possibly can.
Just with the injury, what is it that he's actually done?
Yeah, he's done his knee injuries. He's ended up doing an anterior, which is one of the main ligaments in the knee. So he needs surgery on it. He'll get it fully repaired, but obviously we know that's a lengthy process.
For you, I mean, obviously at the start of the season you said that you wanted to bring in extra centre backs because you didn't want a repeat of last season. You obviously lost Akin early doors. Now you've lost Ben as well. You've had Reece James, who's played centre back, who has picked up a knock as well. Do you now look at the free agent market potentially with because obviously you have got January, but that is a little while away. Will you possibly be looking to the free agent market as a potential option now?
We haven't thought about that, Joe. We haven't thought about that. What we have done potentially, let's have a look maybe when the January window comes around. We'll have a look then. But initially now we haven't thought about looking in the free transfer market. I suppose it's because it's who's out there and available. I'm not saying that there's not one or two out there available, but also at the same time it's looking at their fitness levels is the big thing. But we haven't ruled it out, Joe.
Okay, and how tough is it for you? Obviously, you like I say, you work so hard over the summer to try and fill up those centre back spaces. Do you find yourself just thinking, what are we doing wrong here?
Yeah, you could almost say that really in terms of the training program. I said to you the other night after the game, I said we must be doing something here in our training program that's not suited for centre backs here at the club, because certainly over the last couple of seasons we've seen our fair share in that particular department. And the injuries have been lengthy ones at that really. And when you look at our central defenders in the game, they're meant to be the most robust characters in there. So to have the injuries that we've had in there, it is what it is. And us, Joe, we get on with it. The big thing for us is our thoughts and our attention is towards Ben and making sure he's got the best treatment and making a full and speedy recovery as soon as possible.
Have you had to sort of take him to one side? Obviously, you've had a long career yourself. You know all about injuries and stuff. Have you taken him to one side to chat to him about how you get through something like this?
Yes, I have. Yes, because as a former player myself, I suffered the same injury that he's got, and the process with it. But he's such a wonderful character. He's such a strong individual. And yeah, we'll miss him because obviously he not only he's playing action and playing style, but he's a leader as well. You see, so we'll miss that from him. But as I said, he's in and around the building. he'll probably be at the game tomorrow to support the players. And but as I said, we wish him a real speedy recovery.
So just touching on the defence now, with Icky being out this weekend, does that sort of give you a decision to make on whether you switch to a back four potentially?
Yeah, as you know, Joe, we can play both shapes. We can play a 3 or we can play a 4. It's something that we're really pleased to be at our disposal this season. It's something that we've played already this season. We've played a 3, we've played a 4 this season, and it's something that we can work in from week to week, or we can chop it or move it around from week to week because we feel we've got the personnel to do it. Tomorrow we've got the personnel to go with a 3, we've got the personnel to go with a 4 tomorrow. So we'll see tomorrow.
So do you do a lot of work in training with both the back 4 and the back 3?
Yeah, always do work, because in order to flip both shapes, and that takes work and takes continuous work, and that's what we've done from since pre-season really, and that's why we felt now in a position that when we needed to utilise and flip to a back 4 or back 3, we can do that, and the players are happy to do that.
Obviously, I know every game's different and you'll have different game plans for different opponents, but when you're working out the plan for the game, how many do you actually come up with? Because we've seen you change formation within a game. How many game plans do you actually come up with for each match? That
depends, Joe. That really depends. I mean, for me to give you a particular specific number, would be wrong for me to do that, because you can come up with a game plan and an action plan, and have two or three different game plans and action plan, and that can be flipped on its head with an injury. That can be flipped on its head with a different system. That can be flipped on its head that you'd see something on the day that the opposition have changed, that you're going to change, or that you can change on the day. So it's really, really different, really. So for you to come up and say there's a specific game plan of this number or action plan would be wrong, really, because you go in with a few different game plans, but also that can turn on its head. And I've already worked this season where we've turned game plans on its head and seen things, areas of the pitch where you can expose an opponent, or where opponents are causing us 1 or 2 problems and we need to nullify that.
Yeah, and so I want to touch on just lastly on the centre backs. With the guys you've got there, I don't think any of the centre backs have actually scored this season so far. Is that a concern or a worry for you? Frustration maybe that you're not getting the centre backs chipping in?
Yeah, and they've all come close. Icky's come close. Obviously Ben's hit the upright a couple of times. Maka. So they're getting in. They've been getting those chances, but again, we spoke about earlier about getting the opportunity and the chances to score the goals, and they're getting threatened, and we look more threatening from set plays. We do, but obviously we want to get on the end of them. So we'll continue to work on them. We've done some more work again over the last few days on them, and hopefully tomorrow, if we did get the right delivery in and get the right contact in, albeit from a centre back, then I'm sure we'll score.
Brilliant. Can you give us an update on the injured lads? Obviously, Reece James, Akin, got Dennis as well. Can you give us any idea of when the guys who are out currently will be back, obviously other than Ben?
Yeah, Reece James is back in now, so we feel Reece James is fine. He's back in training now. Akin will be back in to training next week. We'll start drip feeding him back into training next week. And then Dennis Adederin, we feel that he's probably still a few more weeks yet before he gets back on the grass with the players.
What's the situation with Jack Hunt? Obviously, he was a big player last season, signed a new contract over the summer. He's obviously had his illness earlier in the campaign this year. Where's Jack at, and what does he need to do in order to sort of force his way back in?
No, Jack's just got to continue doing what he's doing, and I'm sure as and when the opportunity presents itself, he'll be ready to step in. He's keeping himself fit, he's keeping himself strong. I think as well as that, the level and performance of where Liam Palmer's been at this season has been excellent. I think it's been exceptional. The consistency and the level that Palms has showed. And that the both of them are competing for that right back, right wing back but you've also seen them play in the team when I've played Palms as a centre back and Hunty at the right back or the right wing back. So we feel we've got options with them too, with them individually playing, competing against each other, or with them both in the same team.
Brilliant. Just lastly, away from the football a little bit, we've had a few people asking us about your change of outfit on the touchline. Not in tracksuits anymore. Is there a reason for that? Is it just something you decided to do?
No, I didn't notice that. It's just the tracksuits are just just comfortable ones really, Joe, and it's very observant of the fans. But yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Darren. All the best.
Cheers, Tart.
Hi Darren, how are you?
You okay, Dom?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I wanted to double check on Mark McGuinness. Is he fit? Is he okay? Yeah, tomorrow. It was just cramp the other day.
Yeah, we said it was just cramp. That was just a bit of cramp, but he's fine. Yeah, trained. Everything's fine.
Going back to goal scoring at the moment. So you've got a lot of players who've chipped in this season. The goals have been shared around, but your top scorer has only got 4 so far. Why do you think you haven't got at the moment a player that is scoring freely and on a consistent basis?
You look at the games, and I think we can all look back, Dom, and recite some of the matches, and those chances are falling to what you'd probably deem our number 9s, but also those chances are falling to wing backs and midfield players. So why probably our so-called number 9s has not got it is, I just feel that it's just been the connection, and I keep saying, Dom, I've got not much more to say really, just on the individual giving the connection, because they get in, they get the chances, and we just feel the connection. But also, as we got to remember as well, Dom, the last 2 games, the man of the match has been the goalkeeper. And when you look at the volume of chances that we've created over those 2 games, it hasn't solely been missed chances. I think the goalkeeper's pulled off some exceptional saves. I look at the game the other night, I must have counted 3 or 4 exceptional saves their keeper did, and certainly won them the point in the end, because with the chances, and they were very good saves. I've got no complaints with the connection on the ball with the lads. They were exceptional saves. So my message has been clear to the boys: continue and stay on and continue doing what you're doing, because in the level of volume, the chances that you're creating, we'll get the goals, and that's been the clear message for them really. So we'll continue creating, and as I said to you, hopefully we'll have individuals on the pitch tomorrow, Dom, with the shooting boots on.
You've had a lot of bad luck with injuries at the back this season and last season. Is there any part of you that regrets maybe not signing another centre-back in the summer?
Dom, we've got 5. I mean, we've signed 5 central defenders here. And anybody will say you'd probably feel that's more than enough, really, in terms of it. And I remember getting to the summer, Dom, and we'd signed 4, and we thought that was enough with 4, and then I thought, no, we'll do 1 more, so we've done 5, and we still we've had the injuries, so it's probably just as well that we did do 5. So it's just one of them, but we feel that over the next few weeks, Akin will be back in, and we'll work and get on with what we've got, but we certainly don't want any more injuries in that department or anywhere else on the pitch.
Can you recall Kieran Brennan?
I think Kieran Brennan is long periods until January at least, so no.
How closely have you followed Kieran's development?
Yeah, he's been fine. We've been following him really fine, and what we wanted him to do is get some of the games, and he's been getting the games, because what the games build with him, Dom, is there's that wiriness, that toughness that you need by just playing games. And for a young player as Kieran, and young Ryan Galvin that's away at Maidstone. That's what these players need, is playing that game time, because subconsciously when they come back, they're a bit more nearer to your first team because they've played first team football on the front line. So he's doing all right, Kieran. Just got to keep going, but we are monitoring his progress.
I wanted to ask you about 5 substitutes. There haven't been that many times in the last couple of months where you've used all 5 subs. But why do you tend to not use, all the 5 subs?
No need. There's been no need really, with the consistent run of games, the cohesion of the games, the results of the matches, the understanding. So there's been no need. Not to say that I won't use them, but there's been no need to really use them. But obviously now that we got the 3rd game in the week, and the energies that expended over the last 4 or 5 days with the 2 games, then we'll have a look. Certainly coming into the 3rd game in the week, because it's certainly a game that we probably feel that they call upon the squad. So we'll have a look. But I can only say we probably didn't need them at the time, Dom.
Do you also feel is there just an element of if you make all 5, it can disrupt the flow, maybe the tempo, the way that your own team are playing if you make too many subs sometimes?
Potentially that. You've always got to guard against that really, and also sometimes not needing to change it. It's probably been up to the opposition to try and get their way back into the game or force their way back in the game. So probably it's been one of them as well, of probably not needing it at the time. So I'm not saying that I won't use all 5, because if I see fit to use all 5, then we'll definitely use all 5. But thus far, we've probably used 2 or 3, probably maybe 4 at the most. But we'll have a look. I'm sure there's going to be games coming along that we will use all 5.
You've already played Burton once this season. What are your thoughts on your old club?
Yeah, they've got more of a solidity about them and a consistency about them. Obviously, Dino stepped in and taken over from them, and he's starting to stamp his mark on them. Difficult to beat. Got a lot of men in and behind the ball, and workmanlike, very workmanlike for each other, and very, very difficult to beat. And obviously carry a threat up front. So it's going to be another difficult game for us, but they've certainly shown more solidity to their game than they have over recent months.
You changed a lot of players around when you last played Burton. Are you expecting tomorrow to be a very different game to when you played them, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, the game when we played them in the cup, we changed a lot of personnel around and everything else for the game. So I imagine that certainly tomorrow there'll be different faces tomorrow from that lineup.
Cheers, Darren. All the best for tomorrow.
Cheers, Dom. Good to see you, mate.
Afternoon, Darren. How you doing?
Hi, Stuart. Yeah, fine, thanks.
Good. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned to Rob the sort of non-central defenders who you'd played in central defence. When you first came to choose them, what sort of profile, what things do you look for in a player that makes you think they can play that position?
The balance. That's number 1 to the team. Number 2 is, dominating the ball. When we get good possession of the ball and dominating the ball. And if you like, it's almost like an extra attacking player, even though it's a defender, because really it's a fullback, really, in terms of it. So those are the characteristics we look in terms of when we're playing some of these players in that different position, in how we want to dominate the ball and how we want to work certain patterns. And that's some of the profile that we have. But all these players that's played in these different positions, they've always played in that position long before it's suggested. I know sometimes when it gets named in the team sheet, there's all eyebrows raised, but we've worked on it in training, or probably since pre-season. It's just picking and choosing the right game where we feel and see fit that to utilise that player.
And you you mentioned the attacking elements of it. Does the way you play a back three mean that the outside guys have a very different job to the centre back and to the centre backs in the back four?
That's right, Stuart. Yeah, it's very much different in terms of the roles and responsibilities. Probably those outside two centre backs have got to probably the central one. Very, very different in terms of how we work with them. But obviously all three connect as a unit in terms of that. But there is different roles and responsibilities, certainly for them two outside ones to the central one.
And do you feel, because obviously the nature of games at Hillsborough, being the club you are and the position you are in the league, you often have a lot of the ball. Is that sort of part of the thinking in how you set up that, you know, we might well dominate possession today, therefore I need more players who are comfortable, you know, bringing the ball out from the back, for example?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, and that's, you're spot on, Stuart, in terms of, you know, how we look and you know, certainly down at Hillsborough, you know, we like to dominate the ball, but we want the ball because if you've got the ball, you create more chances to try and score goals and go and win the game. So he's putting certain personnel on the pitch that we feel that in certain areas of the pitch or where we feel we're going to dominate the ball, that we've got suitable, comfortable players in that position. And that's part of the reason. Probably not every game that you're going to have that. And some games, you know, you got to go for size and strength or in depth or more defensive. That's what happens. But there's certain elements of that by playing players in those orthodox positions because we feel we're going to dominate the ball, and we have done that. And those players have played a pivotal part in terms of getting those results that we needed. All of them. You know, we take, for instance, Marvin, Reese, Jaden, you know, have all been come in and played in these different positions, Palms and that, and you know, saw us get results and work. But it's work because we've worked on them continuously. And it's not just them playing in that position, but it's the team getting used to them playing in that position. So we consistently work to do it because this game's ever moving. And you've got to come up with different ideas and things to try and outfox your opponents, or just try and get that little added extra in order to win the game.
So when you're thinking about the make of your team for any given game, how much are you thinking about the opposition and their strengths, and how much is it, you know, you'll hear some managers say, and maybe it's a bit simplistic, you know, let them worry about us. How much do you worry about them, and how much is it about you when you sort of decide how physical you need to be, how good you need to be on the ball, those sort of things?
Yeah, no, every single game, we watch the opposition, and every single game, the opposition will come with a strength. Every game, it's us definitely trying to make sure we're trying to nullify that strength. But also every single game, it's a game planning, trying to win the game. That's without a doubt. We have a game plan to go and win the game. So you have both scenarios every single game. There's never one game that I've gone into and said, oh, let them worry about us. That's just not my style and how we work. We always work and look at the opposition. That's their strength. Right, this is how we need to nullify it. Right, that's a weakness to their game, and this is how we need to expose it. And go and win the game, and that's just the way it is, and that's the way I've always worked from the first day in terms of management, and will continue to work. So it's a lot of work, but I think you need to be committed to that in order to give yourself the best opportunity to go and win the game.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, Darren. Good luck.
Thanks, Stuart. Top man. Thanks. Cheers, lads. Thank you.